Welcome back to another episode of Gurukul Online. I am Nishit Dey. Till now, we have learned about our right hand exercises, a brief history of the sitar, how to tune. The first lesson wasn't really a lesson, it was more of sitar insight. But the second and third is going to take some time, especially the tuning bit. So it's not an absolute must that you're going to have to learn anything within one day. Give it some time. Having that said, today is another important lesson. What to do with the left hand. The left hand is responsible for the melodic change, playing notes. It's basically the most responsible hand for making music, and the right hand is most responsible for the production of sound. So having that said, let us go through a little recap on what happened in the right hand class, which was the last class. I'm guessing that you all have your mizrabs, and at this point the only problem that you might face is sometimes the mizrab is going to feel as it's too tight, it's going to hurt you a lot, and when you loosen it up, it's going to be way too loose. It's going to be a bit of a trouble at first to find the perfect pressure or the perfect tightness of this, but you don't really have to be very crazy or go mad about this, because this is eventually it's going to be solved. So we are going to wear the mizrab, and then we are going to hold the sitar like this. I have explained in earlier videos how to do that. The first step is you place the sitar on your feet, and then the second step is you use this portion of your hand and keep it right here. The third step is putting the thumb here. The golden rule, of course, is you cannot move the thumb or you can't pick it up like this. It has to remain here at all times. The fourth step is bringing the sitar as close to your body as you can. Now, it is important that we understand what these two fingers or the hand is responsible for, but before that I want to talk about you need to keep a little bit of nails for playing the sitar, and let me tell you why. But before, here are some frequently faced problems that I face. So sometimes girls come to play the sitar and they have these beautiful nails, but I have to tell them that you have to clip them, and they become very sad. But eventually you have to. And for the men who have weird habits of biting nails, that has to stop. And let me tell you why. Because these fingers, they go through immense pressure, which may sound or look like it's gonna hurt, but it won't. Not at all. It's going to go away very, very soon, provided that we are doing it the right way. So the nails that you're going to need is, on the right hand you are going to need a bit of nail on your pinky. Why? Because if we want to produce this sound, sometimes this can be only achieved through your nails. So a bit of nail on your right hand pinky is necessary. The ring finger is not really necessary. Middle finger, you need just a bit of nails, because when you are going to tune the sympathetic strings like this, you are going to need the middle fingernail. The index is not important. However, the thumb is a bit important, because this has to go through some kind of pressure, and the inner sensitive meat part or the skin part, the nail is going to actually be a shield, so that we don't end up hurting ourselves. So that's it on the right hand. Left hand, we are going to need some nail on the index, some on the middle, not really on the ring, but we are going to need, again, the left hand pinky is going to need some nail as well, because we have to do this at times and it becomes easy if we have this nail. And as well, we need some nail on the thumb, because this needs support as well. Having that said, now let us work on the left hand position. So as I explained earlier, the main playing string, the main string, also called the naikitar, is always tuned to a certain scale's shuddhama. So shuddhama is going to be the open tone for like this. So before we place our left hand, it is important that the last lesson, the right hand, has been it's somewhat in a satisfactory level right now. It is important that we realize that we are not really looking for a very polished sound, at least not yet. We are rather looking for a very powerful sound. No matter if it sounds horrible, but we are really looking forward to gaining strength and more control and flexibility on the right hand. So before I finally play sa, or any note for that matter, we are going to give a little recap on what we are expecting from the last lesson. So as I said, there is a ratio. The golden string needs to absorb around 20% of your stroke, and the main string, or the main playable string, needs to absorb at least 80%. So this is what it should sound like. So you open it up, your hand, as far as you can, and then suddenly the stroke has to be very sudden, very sudden, but very agile, very powerful, something like this. So the da stroke is, you see, it doesn't really have to sound very soothing, it just has to be very loud, just to control the hand. So this was the da stroke with the jor string. Now let's try it without the jor string, and it's going to sound much emptier, which is something we don't want, not right now at least. So this is what we don't want. We want a much powerful stroke, which is only going to be achieved if you hit at least with 20% the jor string as well, like this. And now for the ra. Yeah, so I hope you understand. So before you touch, or we experience, or we learn what to do with the left hand, it is very important that you have come this far. Provided that you have come this far, now it's time for the left hand. So I have this theory for I've been teaching for a while now, and I have to deal with a lot of students, and I think this way is going to work the best. So the sitar is actually, it may look like we are holding it like this, like a guitar, but in reality it's actually very different. We hold it like this, it's very simple, just this, and this is how we play it, not like that, like this. So I want you to have your hand fully extended like this, and then take it to your left. On camera it's going to look like I'm taking it to my right, but it is invert, so I am going to take it to my left like this. So it's going to be like this, not this, not this, just keep it straight like this, and this is what we want, this. So coming back, you do this, then we are going to do this, and your thumb is going to come up just a little bit, and then we are going to place it right over here. Again, let me do it for you. You put it out, your hand, and then you take it to your left as far as you can, and then this is the way it's gonna be. If I open it up, you see, this is how we hold the sitar, not like this, but this. Very simple, very simple. So this is the sa fret. Every fret has a note like any other string instrument, any string fretted instrument. So this is the sa. So as I said, that this is shuddha ma. So this is sa, and theoretically and practically sa, and this is ni, this is dha, this is pa, and open string is ma. So ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. For the meantime, we are going to stick to sa till this place, this finger develops a bit. So having that said, it is important that we see the sitar from the back. So this entire portion, there is a frequently asked question and a frequent problem among the newcomers in sitar. So when they hold the sitar, they try to, take a peek up front, because their excuse is they cannot see, which is true. But the sitar has its design, and it has its tricks. So the strings right at the back all are parallel to every fret we have. So if you maintain a position like this, and the thumb is always parallel to your index finger, and this is the grip, so the grip is going to tell you where you are. You are always going to be aware where your index finger is once you build up a relationship between your thumb and the index finger. So as we have this imaginary line through the earth, which is called the equator, I like that example, I don't know why. So we are going to divide the back side of the fretboard into two parts. We are going to draw an imaginary line, and what needs to be done is that the thumb is going to be just a bit lower than the imaginary line. So I have pretty average size hands. So people who have larger hands can aim for something at 50% or right in the middle or just below the middle. Or people like my hands who have the size of my hands is kind of like this, or smaller hands, it is recommended that we have our thumb much lower, much lower. So that is because we are going to need this space. So this is the fretboard and this is the space in between. We are going to need this space because when we are going to pull, it's not going to be through these muscles which are very small and will get tired very soon. And if you have no space between the fretboard and this portion, all the energy or all the trouble or all the forces, all the pressure is going to be absorbed by this only and these, and you are in turn going to be very hurt, and we don't want that. We want it to be very simple, which is why slowly we are going to target all the pulling and all the forces through here and through here. This is something that we are going to need to learn, which we will learn in the future very slowly yet steadily. It doesn't have to be there in one day. It can wait, and that is the proper way. So we hold it like this, and then we are going to apply some pressure. It is very important, just like the guitar or any fretted stringed instrument. The finger position for any note needs to be right before, barely touching the fret. It is very important that it's not over the fret. It's going to give you a very off kind of sound. If you take it way too further apart, then you're going to need much more pressure to play. So it needs to be right before, barely touching the fret. That's the best way. So having that said, you are going to place your index finger over there, and your thumb is going to be parallel to your index finger, as much as pressure as you need to play. And then what we are going to do is we are going to merge the previous lesson, which is 4 das and 4 ras, very loudly with as much power as you possibly can, and just play this for around 10 to 15 minutes every day for around 5 days, because usually within 4 or 5 days your fingers will be ready to go and shift notes and start shifting notes and going to more advanced lessons. Right now the idea is to establish a better coordination between your right hand and your left hand and get overall better tonal quality or loudness. So this is what you're going to need to do: 4 das and 4 ras with pressure over here as loud as you can, like ra, again da. You see, I'm following a certain tempo, no breakage, and that is exactly what you're going to need to do. So just a recap before we end: holding the sitar perfectly, tuning it up as much as you can, holding it like this while having the sitar very close, something like this, and coming back, and then you press on it as much as you can, but not too much, not too little, just enough to make the sound. And then having your right hand do 4 das and 4 ras. Do this for 15 minutes without breaks every day, and it is very important that you probably just do it once or twice a day, and there should be an adequate resting time, because the body is going to recognize this as an injury and is going to try to heal itself, which is what we don't want. If this gets healed, then you have to start all over again. So gaps are not recommended. You do this, you do it for 15 minutes for 5 days, and eventually you're going to see that this place is beginning to have a permanent mark. As soon as that starts, then you're ready for basically the next lesson. We are going to finish the lesson today till now, and hope to see you next class. Thank you.